Having a baby, it's very hard. I've been in the room 3 times, and I've seen what my wife has gone through 3 times. But then even after you have the baby, it really takes a toll on a woman's body. So pre- and postnatal fitness expert Jannie Rodrigues from 10XTO is here to kind of share some key exercises and getting back into shape, which is really hard, Jannie, isn't it?
It is. It can be really hard, yes. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as well as a new mother. And so really what I'm here to talk about today is the 5 best tips that I think all new mothers should know, especially when they're getting back into an exercise routine after having a baby.
Okay. You've had, how many babies have you had?
3.
You've had 3 babies.
So I've had a single, and then who is 5 years old, and then I have twins who are almost 3.
No way. Okay, yeah. So what was the hardest thing for you getting back into exercising?
I really was just making sure that my core was stable. And so after carrying a baby for a while, obviously as the baby grows bigger, our abdominal wall stretches. And so I was just very conscious about what was actually happening through my abdominal wall. And when you go back into exercise, you want to make sure that you're doing something safe and effective so you're not making that worse.
Because you want to get back to the way you were, but the patience is kind of key, that you're not...
Just being kind to yourself and just realizing you spent 9 months making a child, that you want to just not be so hard on yourself and think I have to get mom bod out and I need to get strong and moving as quickly as possible. Really just taking your time. It's your whole structure of your body has changed.
Okay, we're lucky that we have Laura, lovely Laura,
Yes,
who's going to come in and kind of demonstrate some of the exercises that you have for us.
Yeah, so my first tip that I'd like to suggest to all new mothers is, like I said before, just start slowly. Like, be kind to yourself, maybe just taking the stroller out, getting the baby to walk for a little bit, maybe like a 30, 45-minute stroll, just to kind of get moving. Okay. And then my second tip would to be, and thank you Laura, is to doing lying down or lying face up exercises. Again, when we're talking about the abdominal separation, we want to make sure that we're doing exercises that won't put any more excess pressure on the intra-abdominal wall here. So Laura's going to start off with this lying position, and before we get going, I want to get you to right down to the ground. We're going to be doing something called a dead bug, and a dead bug's a great abdominal exercise that is very safe. So Laura, I'm going to get you to raise your arms just directly in front of you and your shoulders, and we're going to have your palms facing towards your knees. We're going to take your knees up into what's called the tabletop position. So being mindful here, we want to make sure that there's a little bit of space just underneath her lower back, and we're kind of trying to maintain that space to make sure that the core is actually really engaged here. Laura's going to take a nice deep breath in here. As she inhales, she's going to stretch her right arm, left leg, and then before she brings it back up, she's going to engage her lower abdominal and then slowly bring the arm and leg back together. Again, inhale, opposite arm and leg, and then slowly engaging your core to slowly drive everything back in together. Great job, and slowly lower down. Perfect.
At what point do you think you could do this?
I would say always wait at least 6 weeks postnatal. Make sure you get cleared by your doctor first. Make sure they give you the go-ahead to go, and then that way you're making sure that you're not injuring yourself any further. Yeah.
Okay. What can we do after something like that? Is there any other steps?
So actually, another thing we like to talk about is actually working on the posterior chain. So I'm going to get Laura to come back down again. Okay. So when you have a new baby, and if you can lie right down onto the ground there, Laura. So when you're having a new baby, we tend to do a lot of bending forward. You probably know you're changing diapers, you're doing tummy time, and you're lying down. Another thing that happens is when you're carrying the baby, your hips start to expand. And with that expansion of the hip and the pelvis, the muscle fibers start to loosen or almost disengage. And in that way, you'll find that women usually tend to complain about their hips hurting, lower back hurting, and strengthening the glutes is one of the most important things for making sure we get rid of any of that discomfort. So Laura here is lying down again. We're going to do what's called a glute bridge. So from here, she's going to make sure that her knees are hip distance apart and her upper body is relaxed. She's going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, fill the belly. As she exhales, she's going to push into her heels and start lifting the hips up. But notice that she's not going all the way up onto her upper back. We want to make sure that most part of the rib cage is down onto the ground. That way we can actually utilize and get more of the glutes here. Inhale, she slowly lowers. Exhale, push through the heels, squeeze the glutes and lift up. Great job, Laura. And then slowly come down.
And then how many sets of that do you want to be doing?
I usually do 1 to 2 sets of 12 to 15 reps. And again, that can be gauged based on how the mother feels.
Any pain, anything like that, then stop immediately?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And patience. Is that kind of the key that you need to be? Because it's going to take some time.
It is going to take some time. And you have to realize that you just had the baby. You're probably exhausted too. And so you don't want to stress yourself too much. Just do what feels good, what feels right. If you have a day where you have a lot of energy, baby probably slept a little bit better that night, then yes, and you can definitely work a little bit more into it. But you don't want to be too hard on yourself.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Laura, thanks so much. And once again, so you're from 10XTO, which is a great new luxury gym in downtown Toronto. Hotel X, so you can find more information from Jannie Rodrigues. Pre- and postnatal exercises.
Thank you so much.
Okay, right back on your Monday morning on Morning Live.